It's hard to believe that my wife April and I made the move to Victoria 6 years ago. When we moved here to Vancouver Island, we didn't know anyone, but we knew that Jesus was calling us to join Him in introducing people to the greatest treasure in all of life, Jesus Christ, and to plant life-giving churches on Vancouver Island. So when we arrived in March 2013, we set out to learn a new ministry context. So we would go all over the city and ask Jesus to teach us about the area so that we could learn. We set out to build relationships, and anybody that would talk to us, we tried to engage in relationship with them. Over the last 6 years, we've had more than 700 people around our dinner table. It's interesting to me that all the people in Victoria that we invited over for dinner, there's not one that said no. And we asked Jesus, how can we be a good neighbor? How can we serve? How can we add value to our city? And one of the things that He called us to do was to start something called Canvas Camps. Over the last 6 years, we've seen more than 1,000 kids come to those camps, and each of those kids have received a Life Action Bible as a gift from Canvas to them and to their family. And we set out to build a team because we knew that we couldn't do this on our own. We knew that it would require a team. So in September 2013, there were 15 of us that were meeting in our living room, praying and studying the Word and just preparing to launch. But we knew when we planted, it wasn't going to be about one church in one part of the city. We wanted to start a movement where there were churches, Canvas churches, that were all over Vancouver Island. So even in the early days, we would ask God, show us, what's the next site? God, where should we be? And one of those communities in Greater Victoria that was on our heart from the beginning was the Oak Bay community between downtown and the University of Victoria. We felt led to start a second gathering in Oak Bay, and it started in February 2017 at the Oak Bay Beach Hotel. But we knew that our family wasn't supposed to lead both of those churches. We knew that God would raise someone up to provide leadership in Oak Bay.
I received a call from Ashley Austin in Victoria. Said, we've planted a church here in Victoria, and we've come to a place where we believe God is calling us to multiply, to start another campus on another part of the city that is in desperate need of a church. And we want you to consider and to pray about coming to lead that campus. And so my wife and I began to pray. And as we prayed, we had 1,000 questions. And we filtered those questions down to about 5 and visited the island for the first time in January 2017. And while we were visiting Victoria, God clearly answered for us each of those questions so specifically that we knew that we were called to leave everything and to move to Victoria. I remember when I was 15 years old, the year 2000, Jerry Tyone preached a message called the 2020 Vision, in which he laid out the plan to see churches planted across Canada over the next 20 years. And I remember something about that message stuck with me. And I realized that God would have me to be a part of that in some way. And in what way, I didn't yet know. But over the years, I always remembered that message and remembered that God would use my life in some way to see churches started across Canada. And we've been so thankful to be a part of Canvas Church as a multiplying church. And whereas Ashley came to Victoria and didn't know anybody and had to start from scratch, we were able to move to Victoria to join in what God was already doing and to come alongside of a church that had a vision and a heart to plant churches across the city.
And even now, we say, God, what else are you doing? God, show us how you're working. Show us where you want us to go next.